everybody in my family has served in one way or another. My father was a four-star general. My brother is a colonel. My other brother was a lieutenant. The list goes on. But in any case, we all felt a sense of duty, I think, and the U.S. military, especially the Army, was the way that we pursued that duty. And I went to St. John's College in Annapolis, Maryland, which is they call it the Great Books School. And so at St. John's, you study all of the original Western canon, everything from Socrates through Einstein, everything in between. And it's not just literature and philosophy. You're doing hard math, hard sciences, all of that great stuff. Really intensive program. But the intent of the program, in my mind, was to understand truth. So, how do we understand truth? How do we approach it? What is truth? And how do we express it in our lives? And it's a very complicated thing to answer. And you don't answer it in one 4-year program. You answer it through making mistakes in life and through experimenting in life and figuring out what that truth is. So, when I was given the opportunity to join the Army, one of the MOSs, the specialties that I had the option of choosing was psychological operations. And I just thought that that would be an incredible way to understand some of the realities that we're dealing with. Because in order to do psychological operations, you have to have a command of the issue that you're dealing with, and you have to be able to maneuver around that issue. So jumped into psychological operations. It was a fascinating path, and I really enjoyed it. But eventually, I had to get out of my training unit because I moved out to Las Vegas, where I took work as an equivalent special operations kind of role for the Department of Energy, where they have the nuclear emergency support team. They go looking for lost, stolen, and broken nuclear devices and components. So I was part of them, and then came back eventually to where I joined the Office of Intelligence within Department of Energy. And that sort of took me on this intelligence path, also a means of sort of understanding the truth. I think that being part of the intelligence community gives you this incredible insight into the truths that you're dealing with very practically. And you do have a sense that you're sort of opening the screen on some truths that others might not be able to have access to. So it's a pretty exciting line of work. And so I did that at Department of Energy, and I moved over to the Department of Homeland Security, where I supported the Homeland Security Secretary, both Ridge and Chertoff, helping them with all of their intelligence and operational briefings every single morning. And then working in support of the US Congress, helping them with the same thing, not on a daily basis, but a less frequent basis, briefing the Congress on intelligence and operations for Homeland Security. And then I was swept up by the Central Intelligence Agency. They asked me to come apply. And so I did, and I was thrilled to be part of it. This was at the height of the so-called global war on terrorism. So being part of that was extraordinary and took me forward. But throughout, and eventually I took a position much later as one of the leaders of the Global Engagement Center at the U.S. Department of State. And so I've looked at the issue of national security from the Department of Defense, from the intelligence community, and from the Department of State, or as a diplomat. And so I have this, what I think is a fairly unusual take on national security and the issue of the fascination that I have with truth and discerning it. And so, yeah, that's some background on how I wound up at the State Department last. And I got out in 2018, started my own company. And now I'm also part of DEF9, where I serve as their vice president for innovation and technology. And I'm also a professor, as you mentioned, at Tulane University and George Mason University, focused on disinformation and focused on open source information analysis. That's very long-winded. It's quite a pathway. Haven't met many people who have sort of bumped around throughout as many agencies as I have, but I do think there's a consistent thread there, which is going after the truth, trying to understand and discern truth from fiction, but also this role in information operations, which has really been the cornerstone of my career as a psychological operations team leader, as a CIA branch chief, and at the Department of State, always focused on information operations, either how you present the US position to global audiences and to adversaries, or how you defend against adversarial messaging and its impact on the US and its impact on troops and personnel. So that's it, Danny.